Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel. It's official, the start of a new academic tradition for Pope Francis High School.
I'm Kathy Harrington. I'll have the story of Sister Mary Reap as she prepares for her final year as president of the Elms College.
And hundreds gather at Camp Holy Cross in Goshen for a diocesan pilgrimage day dedicated to mercy. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel today as we come to you from Pope Francis High School, the first and currently only Catholic high school that bears the name of the Pope. Just a week ago, the doors and classrooms here opened for its inaugural year, and tomorrow it will break ground on a new state-of-the-art facility on Wendover Road in Springfield. It's been a long journey for this new school, one that has involved the labors of many. The start of the school year, always filled with new experiences, but for students at Pope Francis High School, it's the beginning of a new academic tradition. The 2016-2017 school year for Pope Francis High School began with a Mass celebrated by Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky. The bishop welcomed students, faculty, and staff to the temporary campus in Chicopee, which will be home for the next 2 school years. He offered a special blessing for the beginning of the school year as the former Holyoke Catholic and Cathedral high schools now merged into one entity. It's been a great beginning so far as students and teachers settled into their classrooms.
There's definitely a lot of great advantages to being in the new building. There's a lot more room for the teachers to do labs, and there's more computers for the kids to access, and just being in a more suitable environment to learn.
At the temporary Chicopee location, there's now evidence of Pope Francis and the new Cardinal mascot all around. Most importantly, the school has exceeded its enrollment goal.
Our target number was 361 students, and we are pleased to say that we surpassed that. We're right now, I believe, at 366. And there's a couple more kids in the pipeline, so that's it's always exciting.
And for those students from the former Cathedral High School, it didn't take long for them to feel at home.
I was nervous coming to a new school because I wasn't sure how to get around, didn't know the people, but it turned out being fine. There was a lot of new classes, new opportunities, so it ended up being a fun and good choice for me to come here.
I'm very excited about the school year. It is my senior year. I think it's great bringing the two traditions together.
The idea behind the new Pope Francis High School dates back to June of 2015, when Bishop Rosansky announced plans to merge Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic, citing the need to merge if Catholic education was to be preserved.
These two great traditions are giving birth to something new and exciting.
The bishop then appointed a transitional advisory committee at that time to develop a new school concept. The TAC committee worked on the nuts and bolts of finance, governance, leadership, and mission, making recommendations on materials, staffing, a course of study, transportation, tuition, enrollment, and admission.
We had to recreate a school in literally a year, and we did it. And that's been such a thrill to be part of that, to see it unfold.
They have really worked together very, very hard as a group to see this vision through for Pope Francis High School. And I'm really in debt to them. I'm grateful to them for all that they did because they did a wonderful job.
Committee Chair Jim Turtelot says Pope Francis High School will be as self-governing as possible, run by a corporate board of directors.
With adequate contributions and with the people who are able to afford to pay the real cost of that education, and maybe even a little bit more. The funds from those folks and contributions should be able to bring in folks who are able to do the work at the school, but who might not be able to afford to go there. So we don't want this to be an elite school, but we want it to have an elite education and an elite religious identity.
But the challenge facing the TAC and diocesan officials was twofold. First, to merge two schools. Second, to build a new facility that will eventually house Pope Francis High School. Architects for Pope Francis High School say the design will allow students and faculty to collaborate in new and innovative ways, breaking down the traditional long corridors of classrooms.
In this design, the idea is that the two bars of the building actually are connected to places like the Learning Resource Center, which used to be the library, which is a technology-rich piece of the program that research can happen. And then we've also developed classrooms that are smarter.
Planning for this new state-of-the-art school involved meeting with neighbors of the future Pope Francis High School. An August 23rd meeting with the Fontaine Brothers construction team was held so those living close to the school could hear firsthand when construction will commence and how the Surrey Road neighborhood will be impacted during the 2-year process.
I think we'll work well together. We work in a lot of neighborhoods across the state. We build a lot of schools. And you just want to let people know that you are going to listen to their concerns, understand them, and put yourself in their shoes. And you know, if you were a concerned neighbor, you would want somebody to listen and do what they can to help.
That process kicks off officially tomorrow with a groundbreaking at the future Wendover Road site. And it's not just the innovative design that will distinguish Pope Francis High School, but also a new approach to Catholic education. An independent board of directors will be responsible for its fiscal sustainability while keeping in mind the mission of the school.
Our goal as a board is to move forward to bring a world-class product to the students that come here and make sure that we have the funds to do so, but also to always remember that we have to interweave the mission of the school, and that is that we are a Catholic school, and so that our goal is twofold. It's to form the minds and the souls of the students that come through our doors.
So with tomorrow's shovel in the ground, much is in line for Catholic education. A new chapter will be undertaken, one that will position Pope Francis to carry on the legacy of its founding schools while distinguishing itself for future generations. And again, that groundbreaking is scheduled for tomorrow, September 18th at 2 p.m. on Wendover Road in Springfield. Now, just down the road from the current campus of Pope Francis High School is the College of Our Lady of the Elms. Just as students were arriving there for the start of the new semester, its president, Sister Mary Reap, announced that she would be stepping down after this academic year. Kathy Harrington sat down with Sister Mary to discuss her decision and look back at what all would consider a very successful tenure at the helm of the Elms College.
As a sophomore at Marywood College, Mary Reap reached a decision about her vocation in life. At the end of the school year, she entered the Congregation of the Sisters, Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Continuing her studies, Sister Mary Reap graduated and began her first career as a teacher.
I always presumed I would be teaching, and I did. I taught for a number of years. I began teaching, I taught a little bit in elementary school for 1 year in Brooklyn, and then I taught in high school for quite a few years.
Eventually, she taught on the college level at Marywood, moving up the ranks, becoming its president in 1988, and overseeing its transformation into a university made up of 4 distinct colleges.
I had been president there for 19 years, so I was ready to retire from that presidency. That's a long time to be president at one institution. And so even when I was leaving there, I wasn't sure that I was too young to retire fully from work.
Filling the next year in a variety of education-related roles, her friends encouraged her to take a look at the presidency of Elms College.
I always liked New England. I had made it clear that if I were becoming a president again, I wanted an institution, Catholic first of all, but something that was smaller than Marywood had become. And so this just seemed to be a perfect fit, and I'm glad it was a fit for them as well.
Arriving in Western Massachusetts in 2009, Sister Reap first lived at Mount Marie with the Sisters of St. Joseph, founders of the college.
And they got to know me. And then second, I got to learn a great deal about who they were, what was important to them, and how their life and mission could be lived out here on the campus. And so I think we've just found many ways to promote that and to do it in today's world and for today's student. The Sisters of St. Joseph have this wonderful mission about reaching out to neighbor without distinction. I just think that's a beautiful expression of who they are and how they have always served this community. I'm happy that the college continues to serve the needs of our diocese and that we are able to serve, I think, the educational goals of the church in this institution. I'm glad that we are able to continue to grow and develop and be an institution of excellence that is attractive to the people of our area.
One way the college serves the community is with the Care Van. The mobile health clinic is manned by nursing students under the guidance of an instructor and serves the homeless and underserved in Chicopee.
I know that as the college continues to grow and develop, it'll become even stronger and even reach out more widely to the needs of our community, which are changing very quickly. We've become a very diverse community, and our institutions need to adapt to the new reality of who we are.
In her 8 years at the Elms, President Reep has overseen the funding and construction of a new health sciences building. It features nursing simulation and skills laboratories, complete with hospital beds, a student-faculty research laboratory, as well as a computer information technologies laboratory. Soon these rooms will be filled with students.
Every time you meet them and get to know them, you just see their idealism, their youthfulness, their energy, their hope for the future. And it just fills you, I think, with energy and hope yourself. And so every year, I think we all get re-energized by the young people coming in, and I love to watch them over the 4 years and then see the fine adults they have become by the time they graduate. It's really an honor and a privilege. I can't imagine a better position in the world than being able to work with these young people and watch them grow and develop and try to find the way in which they can contribute to our society.
President Reep's contributions to the Elms will continue long after she has retired, as the second floor of the library is transformed into a student success center.
We've just begun the work to develop it now into a student success center, which will include services such as career services, advising, our accommodations office, diversity, international student office, several of the services that students will really need to be successful here. And so we're very excited about that.
At the end of the academic year, Sister Reep will return to her mother house in Scranton, Pennsylvania. But for her, retirement doesn't mean a life of relaxation.
I'm not a person who plans far in advance. I do the work of today, the work I'm called to, the ministry I'm asked to serve in, and I just think my whole life I've just been gifted with being kind of led from one place to the other. And my congregation has this great devotion to divine providence. So you just place your hands in divine providence, you pray for the Spirit to direct you to the next thing, and I'm just in that period of time right now where I'm staying open to that. And I think I'll know it when I see it.
Sister Reep says her time as president of the College of Our Lady of the Elms is one of the highlights of her life.
It has been a true privilege and an honor to work with such wonderful students and so many wonderful faculty and administrators. I will miss them all terribly, but I know that they will all do very, very well, and so it has just been a wonderful time of my life, and I'm very grateful for having been asked to serve here.
For Real to Real, I'm Kathy Harrington.
And we thank Sister Mary for sitting down with us and wish her well in her final year at the Elms. Still to come on Real to Real, we'll report on last weekend's highly successful Jubilee Year of Mercy Pilgrimage Day at Camp Holy Cross. It's all ahead right here on Real to Real from Pope Francis High School.
Travel next summer with Bishop Mitchell Rosansky and Catholic Communications to Fatima, Portugal to mark the centennial of the Blessed Mother's apparitions. Departing July 17th, this 10-day pilgrimage will visit 3 major European Catholic heritage sites, beginning at Fatima, where you will walk in the footsteps of the 3 young children to whom Mary appeared a century ago. Witness firsthand the great faith of the Portuguese people and the beauty of the land. See how Mary's message still inspires. From there, we'll head to Santiago de Compostela, Spain, where the remains of St. James are buried. Mass will be celebrated in the magnificent cathedral, taking in the sights and sounds of beautiful northern Spain. Our journey will conclude in Lourdes, France, Europe's other great Marian shrine, where the faith has been celebrated for over 150 years. Each day, Bishop Rosansky, assisted by Father Gary Daly, will offer Mass. For more information on this trip, log on to iobserve.org or call 413-452-0670 for a brochure. You can also take part in an information night on Thursday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield. Renew your faith in 2017. Join Bishop Rosansky and Father Daly for this great spiritual opportunity. Don't miss out.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
They gathered solemnly one last time to bid farewell to a beloved parish and church. Back on September 4th, parishioners and many former parishioners came together in West Springfield with Bishop Mitchell Rosansky to respectfully mark the final chapter in the life of St. Francis Cabrini Parish and the Immaculate Conception Church. David Martin was in attendance and prepared this report.
Parishioners at St. Francis Xavier Cabrini Parish in West Springfield were heavy-hearted as they celebrated the final Mass in their beloved church. Almost 350 people attended the closing liturgy. Some prominent former parishioners sat in front. Longtime parishioner Patrick Kelly said he has many fond memories of worshipers over time as they filled the church pews here.
May we all find a parish and carry our faith on. And that's what you want to remember. You know, I need church.
At the beginning of Mass, the bells in the church tower tolled for the last time. Chief Celebrant, Springfield Bishop Mitchell T. Rosansky, said everyone is aware of the good that has occurred at the Church of the Immaculate Conception and the parish of St. Francis Xavier Cabrini.
And we give thanks to God for all the lives that have been so positively influenced, for the gospel that has been shared, for the children that have been taught, and for all of those who came here at different times of their lives.
During the prayers of the faithful, several parishioners offered prayers for those who served the parish and others who looked to the church for aid during times of distress.
As the Mass progressed, events happened that symbolized the actual closing of the church.
During the offertory procession, the chairman of the parish council brought a copy of the original documents establishing the parish in 2009. The chairman of the finance council brought up a key to the church, returning possession of it to the diocese. After communion, the deacon from St. Thomas the Apostle Parish in West Springfield received the remaining Blessed Sacrament to take to St. Thomas the Apostle Church. Then St. Francis Xavier Cabrini Senior Sacristan, Mary Moran, and a helper, Jane Manikowski, folded the altar cloth and removed it as a final sign the altar would never be used again. This was especially moving for parish deacon Don Phillip, who said it was hard for parishioners to say goodbye, but as they shed tears, they also offered a lot of hope.
2 weekends ago, we had the death of our oldest parishioner and the baptism of our newest. And that that's the people of God moving forward. That's the rootedness of church in people and not just in places.
At the end of Mass, Bishop Rosansky offered a final blessing as he officially closed the church. Carolyn Boehm, a parishioner at the church as a child when it was known as Immaculate Conception, said the Mass was healing.
You know, in some ways it was really sad, but in other ways it was a celebration of joy. And as I said to one person, it's not that we're sad that it's ending, but we're happy that this parish was part of all of us.
Afterwards, Bishop Rosansky and other priests were available to offer their support and condolence.
As a priest and as a bishop, we're always with our people through good times and through sad times. And that is when we truly need the faith that we have, especially through the difficult times of life. So to walk with them through this difficult time is only by the grace of God.
Bishop Rosansky said his prayers are with parishioners as they look for a new spiritual home, and he hopes they will find churches to be as welcoming as St. Francis Xavier Cabrini. For Real to Real, I'm David Martin.
Finally, under what was at times rainy, then sunny, then muggy conditions last weekend in Goshen, nearly 800 Catholics, young and old alike, representing a cross-section of the diocesan faith community, gathered at Camp Holy Cross to celebrate the Jubilee Year of Mercy Pilgrimage Day. The overall theme of the day was putting our faith into action.
Long have I waited for your coming, home to me and living.
Caring for the sick, feeding the hungry, comforting the grieving. It was a day dedicated to learning more about the 14 corporal and spiritual works of mercy.
We are really graced that Pope Francis has proclaimed this a year of mercy. And what a better way to celebrate this year of mercy than to be here at Camp Holy Cross amidst the beauty of the nature of God here at this wonderful place. To be reminded of the Garden of Eden, of when Adam and Eve were created in grace, and to be reminded too that we need this year of mercy because of their fall and of our sinfulness.
The day-long event included a penance service with time for confession. Appropriately enough, the rain came down as people's sins were being washed away, along with time for prayer, which was also offered in Spanish and Vietnamese. Folks had the opportunity to pass through a holy door, listen to guest speakers, and enjoy leisure activities.
It's very important for our family to get together and, you know, bring their kids, and they can see a different atmosphere, and they can have, you know, a different way to see. You know, it's not always in the church, but, you know, this campsite.
It's also a good time to come with the family and, you know, show our kids how important it is to know these acts of mercy and how to live by them and how to show others.
Therese Testa from St. Cecilia's Parish in Wilbraham was very excited to share what she had made in the crafts tent.
Today I made a keychain right here at this tent that is down the path from here. I also made this little rosary bead, and it's more like a chaplet, a little Divine Mercy chaplet. I also made a prayer journal, which you can write things in. So that's mostly all.
That's awesome. So what are you going to do with the prayer journal?
I'm going to write things about the homily every Sunday.
Therese's mom, Diane, saw the day as an opportunity to receive graces.
And we all need, our world particularly needs healing and forgiveness. So each of us Catholics need to take advantage of the opportunity to receive mercy, fill our hearts with the grace and the forgiveness to go out and help others in the world who really need our help and our love.
Keynote speaker Carolyn Zablotny is a champion of the cause for sainthood for Dorothy Day. She spoke about Day, founder of the Catholic Worker Movement, and her belief in the daily practice of the works of mercy.
Dorothy believed that the corporal and the spiritual works of mercy should be practiced every day, that was our call as Christians, to be merciful. That was the heart of the gospel. And honestly, I think you could sum up her ministry in the word of mercy.
Father Paul O'Brien, the pastor of St. Patrick's Church in Lawrence, shared stories of how his parishioners have put into practice works of mercy, explaining that 1/3 of the residents of Lawrence live below the poverty line, and several years ago, a group of his parishioners launched the Cor Unum meal program, which now serves restaurant-quality meals to more than 200,000 people a year. He also started a basketball league which welcomes teens with no connection to the church. Food and basketball have become major starting points for evangelization.
God is merciful love, that God breathes the fullness of that merciful love into us from the moment that we're baptized, and that being a Christian is purely about growing and growing and growing in living merciful love. So everything we do somehow as Catholics is meant to be receiving God's merciful love and putting it into concrete practice to change this world.
Susan Conroy, a personal friend of Mother Teresa and her Missionaries of Charity, spoke about how the now Saint Teresa of Calcutta had a profound effect on her life. In her new book, Praying with Mother Teresa, Conroy offers prayers, insights, and wisdom. She says Mother Teresa's name is synonymous with mercy.
When you hear the name Mother Teresa, you instantly think of compassion, you think of love, you think of tireless service to others, especially those who are most in need of mercy, most in need of kindness. You know, Mother Teresa was world famous for helping the hopeless, you know, for protecting and taking in and finding shelter and love and care for the most vulnerable, the littlest, the weakest, the most voiceless.
The day concluded with a late afternoon liturgy celebrated by Bishop Rosansky, Bishop Emeritus Timothy McDonnell, and retired Hartford Archdiocesan Auxiliary Bishop Peter Razaza, along with several deacons and priests. During the Mass, the youth from St. Paul the Apostle Church in Springfield performed a liturgical dance. What a great day it was, and the kids especially enjoyed all the outdoor activities. And special thanks to Father Christopher Malatesta and his staff at Camp Holy Cross for hosting the day. What a beautiful spot. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Our thanks to the staff here at Pope Francis High School for welcoming us this week. A former student from one of the legacy schools here, Cathedral High, the late gunnery sergeant and hero Thomas Sullivan, will be honored on October 5th at the annual Catholic Schools Advancement Dinner. For more information on the dinner, log on to our website, iobserve.org, where you'll also find all of the latest news on the Catholic Church here in Western Massachusetts and beyond, as well as past episodes of our show and segments. That's iobserve.org. And join me next week as Reel to Reel pays its annual visit to the Big E in West Springfield, which this year is marking its 100th anniversary. That will also be the site for tomorrow's live Chalice of Salvation televised Mass. Viewers on WWLP 22 News can catch that special Chalice program starting at 10 a.m. And again, join me from the Big E next week at this same time, right here on Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.